A very good evening. It's always a pleasure having you join me for RTV News in English, beginning with the headlines. Citizens of Rwanda and Togo have welcomed the visa exemption agreement signed between the two countries, while the Minister of Infrastructure says that the government is stepping up efforts to expand electricity generation and related infrastructure aimed at making power more accessible for investors and the general population. Also, former members of armed groups that had been operating in the DRC have expressed gratitude for the medical care they received upon returning to Rwanda. I am William Evans, and this is the news in details. Now, to more news, citizens of Rwanda and Togo have welcomed the visa exemption agreement signed between the two countries. Of course, citizens of Rwanda and Togo have welcomed the visa exemption agreement signed between the two countries, saying it will ease travel and open up new opportunities for trade, business, and personal development. We do have details. Rwanda continues to expand cooperation with other African countries. On the 16th of January 2026, Rwanda signed an agreement with the Republic of Togo to abolish visa requirements for all categories of travelers between the two countries. The move has been warmly received by citizens of both nations, who say it will significantly facilitate cross-border movements. Togolese living in Rwanda and Rwandans living in Togo, who previously required visas to travel, noted that the removal of this requirement will make their lives easier and strengthen people-to-people ties. This is something I really appreciate about what Rwanda is doing. When you come to this country, you are not required to have a visa. It is something other African countries should also adopt. As a Togolese national in particular, now that visa exemption agreements have been signed, I believe that this is a real opportunity for the people of Togo. Fellow Togolese brothers and sisters, this is an opportunity and a gateway that has been opened for us by a sister country. We are called upon to make good use of it. If agreements have been signed, we too should take advantage of them by identifying and developing investment projects we can engage in. Air tickets from Kigali to Togo have been costly because people wait to first get visas, then purchase the tickets almost at the last minute. Now that this visa-free agreement has been reached, it's going to be easy for us to travel without any additional costs. Even for us who have been this side for some time, it has been hard traveling to and fro Togo because we needed a lot of paperwork. Even if we have Rwandan documents, we also needed to acquire Togo documents so that once we leave, we can be able to return. But now, everything has been eased and the entire process is going to be less costly. We warmly welcome this opportunity. God bless our countries, God bless our leaders, and we honestly thank God for this. Economic analyst Francois Kanimba says that Rwanda's continued commitment to signing visa-free agreements with African countries is a major step towards unlocking development opportunities similar to what has been done by more developed nations. If you go to Europe, America, or Japan and other places, you find that because they need each other for trade and investment, they remove visa requirements. Rwanda has now become a gateway for investment and investors. When Rwanda approaches other countries to allow Rwandans also to get there without visa requirements, it becomes easy. I think this is one of the strongest pillars in even achieving one market for all African countries. Kanimba adds that African countries which are still reluctant to lift visa requirements for fellow Africans, often citing security concerns, should draw lessons from Rwanda's approach. They usually cite security concerns, saying that ill-intentioned people might take advantage of visa-free entry to enter their countries and cause them harm, but each country should have stable security measures to deal with such individuals instead of putting in place restrictions that affect even people with good intentions. This is what Rwanda has done. Rwanda does not get criminals coming here because of the visa-free policy. Rwanda and Togo formally signed the permanent visa exemption agreement at the end of last week in Lome, the capital of Togo. The agreement allows citizens of both countries, holders of ordinary service and diplomatic passports, to travel freely without visas. The agreement builds on earlier bilateral accords signed in Kigali during a two-day official visit by Togolese President Faoli Sozina in January 2025. At the time, President Paul Kagame emphasized that the next step would be translating agreements into concrete actions that directly benefit citizens of both countries.
Mine is just to express how happy we are to have you here, but also record the good cooperation we have for a long time between our two countries that we want to deepen further as we continue working together. And there are sectors that have already been mentioned, but the cooperation is not limited to that. You can take it to any other level. I want to remind people that once we have visited each other, we have discussed, we have reached agreement.
Rwanda has long pursued a policy of easing visa requirements as a way of strengthening regional integration, promoting tourism, and boosting trade. Currently, African nationals are eligible for free visas ranging from 30 to 90 days, which can be obtained on arrival at any border post or at Kigali International Airport. Now, the Ministry of Infrastructure says that the government is placing strong emphasis on expanding electricity generation infrastructure and complementary systems to ensure easier access to power for both investors and the general population. According to the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda's Integrated House Living Conditions and Health Survey, national electricity access rose from 34% in 2016-2017 to 72% in 2013 and 2014. And to 72% in 2023 to 2024. Over the past 5 years, from 2020 to 2025, the proportion of Rwandan households with access to electricity increased from 64.5% to 85.4%, an increase of 20.4% points. Of these connections, 60.1% are linked to the national grid, while 25.3% rely on solar energy. As electricity availability has expanded across the country, many have seized the opportunity to turn it into a driver of development, particularly in the industrial sector. In several areas where power has been extended, residents have used electricity to create jobs and start income-generating activities. Rwanda is also among the countries implementing the global climate agenda by reducing emissions from petrol and diesel-powered vehicles, notably through the promotion of electric vehicles and motorcycles. However, with the private sector investments expanding, changing stations for electric mobility, questions have emerged about whether electricity supply will be sufficient to meet the growing demand from both investors and the population. Infrastructure development experts argue that the government should continue scaling up electricity generation projects and strengthen distribution networks to ensure power reaches all parts of the country, including rural areas, as a way to attract investment. By the end of 2025, Rwanda's installed electricity generation capacity had reached 467.1 megawatts, up from 238.3 megawatts in 2020-2021. The country is targeting a total capacity of 1,066 megawatts by 2034 to be achieved through major energy projects currently in the pipeline. Also, to more news, former members of armed groups that had been operating in the forests of the Democratic Republic of Congo said that the medical care they received upon returning to Rwanda reflects good governance that values all Rwandans without discrimination. At the Mutobo Demobilization and Reintegration Center in Musanze District, returnees first undergo civic education before being integrated into civilian life. The center has a clinic that is permanently operational to attend to everyone who reports health-related problems. Individuals found to be suffering from chronic illnesses or untreated injuries are referred to hospitals for further treatment. The director of Mutobo Center, retired Major General Cyprian Mudeyi, says that beyond treating common illnesses, people living with disabilities resulting from their from their involvement in groups that fought against the government of Rwanda are identified and continue to receive specialized support similar to that provided to other former soldiers. Currently, the Rwanda Demobilization and Reintegration Commission is providing medical care to 7,866 beneficiaries, including former members of the former Rwanda Patriotic Army, those who served in the Rwanda Defense Force up to 2012, as well as former members of the former FAR and various armed groups who returned at different times. To more news, residents relocated to model villages in the city of Kigali say that they appreciate the support they receive through being organized into poultry farming cooperatives. However, they are calling on the government to work more closely with the management of these cooperatives so they can operate more effectively and generate sustainable income. We do have the report. The poultry farm serving residents of Ayabaraya Model Village in Masaka Sector, Chichucho District, hens were distributed in 2018. The project started with about 5,000 layers, producing more than 1,000 eggs every day. In Gasabo District, Gikomero Sector, residents of Runyinya Model Village also received layers in 2017. Leaders of Inyenyeriza Gikomero Cooperative said that chickens currently produce over 1,500 eggs per day. From these farms, we get fertilizers and also get eggs to supplement good feeding, especially for our children. Every member is given a tray of eggs in a quota, but as we sell eggs, there are those that get slightly damaged, and those are also given out to them too. Members are given free eggs, and everyone is given about 10. When we are out of eggs, we begin from where we stopped the previous time. When you get 10 eggs, you can boil about 5 for children and then fry the other 5 for them too next. This helps fight stunting. This is also very helpful because if you were to buy them, we most likely wouldn't afford to. However, the situation is different in Karama Model Village in Nyarugenje District. In 2019, residents were given about 7,500 chicken, but some residents say poor management led to a lack of productivity. When RBA visited the site, no chicken were found. Cooperative leaders said they were in the process of restocking. All those chickens got wiped out without significantly benefiting citizens because in the past almost 7 years, none of the 240 families has even been able to pay for their medical insurance using profits from the chickens we were given. We can't say this project will help any of us at all. Our desire is to have leaders close to our local leaders to support them with monitoring and evaluation. There is something little they were able to receive during the festive season. Every member was able to receive 5,000 Rwandan francs. We have benefited from the initial 2,000 birds, and we ordered for more 2,000. The City of Kigali spokesperson, Emma Claudine Nhirenganya, says that poultry farming continues to play an important role in improving the livelihoods of residents in model villages. She adds that the City of Kigali will remain closely involved with the cooperatives, particularly in strengthening management practices. The National Institute in charge of cooperatives is supposed to be close to different cooperatives, especially those made up of people like these who need to be supported to move from one level of life to another. We shall continue supporting them and advising them as much as possible, and also see if there is any other thing we can do so they can grow their projects. Despite the progress made, production levels from poultry projects in Kigali's model villages show that strong and sustainable management measures are still needed. Nearly all the projects have faced losses at some point and later relied on support from well-wishers who reinvested to prevent them from collapsing. Now, Rwandans and foreigners who came together for the community sports activity Car Free Day, this being the very first edition of 2016, have expressed satisfaction with the good decision they made to engage in physical exercises, citing significant benefits it has brought to their lives. Peace and security are among some of the things that are being appreciated by many, enabling them to reach wherever they wish in the country without hindrance.
Actually, I'm an admin in a group called Steps to Wellness. Steps to Wellness, we are a sportive group. We do hikes in Kigali and outside Kigali to show people the nature of Rwanda and encourage them to keep a healthy lifestyle. We are actually a big group of like 1,000 members. We do all health-related activities. You encourage the youth and other people to promote their fitness. And actually this thing is very special in Rwanda. Here, the weather, the nature can help you really to be healthy. So we take the chance to share with the Car Free Day, and we are really grateful for the peace and security of the country that allow us to do our activities in peace. Actually, I'm an admin in a group called Steps to Wellness. Steps to Wellness.
Well, I'm William Evans, and that was it for RwandaTV News in English. Have a good night. Goodbye.